In a most excellent turn of events, Orion Pictures has finally dropped the first teaser trailer for what's sure to be the single greatest cinematic endeavor in the history of humankind. Bill & Ted Face the Music, the long-awaited continuation of the adventures of Keanu Reeves' Ted Theodore Logan and Bill S. Preston, Esquire, played by Alex Winter.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
It's been a long time since we last saw our righteous heroes. We first met them in 1988's Bill & Ted's Excellent Adventure, in which the pair traveled through time to collect historical figures for their final high school reports and discovered their destiny, for the band the Wild Stallions to unite the world through music. Then in 1991, we went along for Bill & Ted's Bogus journey, which saw our heroes killed by evil robot versions of themselves from the future. They descended to hell and were forced to escape by winning a terrifying and tense game of Twister against William Sadler's death. Bill & Ted Face the Music will find the two in middle age, somehow having failed for all this time to write the song that will save humanity. There's a panel of radical dudes and dudettes from the future who are none too pleased at Bill & Ted's failure. There's a return of the famous telephone booth and the circuits of time. And there's one bright idea by Ted, to go to the future and steal the world-saving song from themselves. After all,
how is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
Fans should be overjoyed that this trailer is finally here, and the movie looks every bit as hilarious and awesome as we thought it would. With all of that excellence flying at your face though, there are a few small details you might have missed. After an extremely brief shot of what appears to be a hologram of the Earth, indicating some kind of phenomenon occurring in Southern California, we see Bill and Ted in the phone booth, intercut with a scene in which Ted cooks up their plan to travel to the future. But in one very interesting sequence, two things are shown in quick succession. Bill and Ted wearing tuxedos, giving some kind of speech at what could only be a wedding, and a shot of their daughters, Billy Little Bill Logan, played by Bridget Lundy Payne, and Thea Little Ted Preston, who's portrayed by Samara Weaving. That's right, Bill and Ted named their daughters after each other. In case you've forgotten, we've met them once before.
This is Little Ted.
Hello, Little Ted.
And this is Little Bill.
We don't see the duo's wives, the princesses, in this trailer for Bill & Ted Face the Music, but we know they'll figure into the story. Glee's Jayma Mays is portraying Bill's wife Joanna, and Children's Hospital Erin Hayes will play Ted's wife Elizabeth. Still, it certainly looks like one or both of Bill & Ted's daughters will be getting hitched. And if you know Bill & Ted, then you know that there are no unimportant plot points. Perhaps it's these nuptials that will finally move the guys to write their world-saving tune? Perhaps they'll have to keep circling around in time to give a dozen versions of this speech until they get it right, for some reason? There's a lot that could be going on here. But it seems significant that this shot was included in the trailer. Another significant shot? This one. Yep, but that's William Sadler, reprising his role as Death, rocking out with his excellent friends. In Bill and Ted's Bogus journey, Death was eventually brought around to the side of righteousness, joining the Wild Stallions and accompanying Bill and Ted on their journey to superstardom.
You might be a king or a little street sweeper, but sooner or later you dance with the Reaper.
In another shot, we can see that at one point, the guys were indeed pretty successful with their music. There's a professionally made Wild Stallions leather jacket framed on the wall. In another frame, you can spot what certainly looks like an issue of Rolling Stone with our heroes on the cover. There are other magazine and newspaper clippings on the wall, like the one seen during Bogus Journey's closing credits. Of course, all of those clippings told us the story that Bill and Ted had basically succeeded in achieving world peace. So what could have happened to disrupt the timeline? Perhaps Death will have some knowledge of the situation to impart. And now about that sojourn to a possible future or perhaps an alternate reality. Apparently, in one attempt to steal their world-saving song from themselves, Bill and Ted end up snagging one iteration of the tune from ultra-jacked prison-bound versions of themselves.
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but you know, that's cool.
It's unclear what these lunkheads did to get themselves thrown in prison, but judging by their tattoos, it appears that they hadn't lived radically different from their regular counterparts prior to Breaking Bad. Bill has a Wild Stallions tattoo, and Ted has one reading Elizabeth and Billy Forever, the names of his wife and daughter. It looks like Bill and Ted may have to encounter a bunch of different versions of themselves while attempting to hunt down the song that will save the world. We can only guess as to what other kind of Bills and Teds might be out there in the multiverse, and we certainly have every hope that Bill and Ted Face the Music will show us when it arrives in theaters on August 21st.
Catch you later, Bill and Ted!
Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.